Sorry, but I think I'll be in course exam.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with.
Hello, good evening. You are listening to us to Plan Radio 101.1 FM. If you are watching us, you're on Spectrum, Startimes TV, Spectrum TV, and Startimes Channel 136. My name is Anthony Epuk, and the program you're listening to is Legally Speaking. Alright, today on the show, we will be looking at the Electoral Act. The aspect of the Electoral Act we are looking at will be the bribery or buying and selling of votes. Alright, we will also look at the issues of terrorism acts, which has to do with the buying and selling of person, that's ransom payment. Alright, recall that very recently the Anti-Terrorism Act has been amended to include the illegalization of payment of ransom. So we will look at that too. So we'll start with the breaking news. I have with me in the studio today to discuss this, and Ekemi Udom is a lawyer with Justice Chambers and is an author and a social commentator. I think that's right, Ekemi.
Thank you very much, Tony, for having me.
Alright, I have another lawyer too in Amis. She's a teacher. Okay. Hannah is saying is a teacher with Akwa State, right? Let me not mention the school. Alright, go.
Please don't.
Alright.
Good evening,
Hello,
listeners and viewers. Thank you.
Alright, just this afternoon, news broke that the All Progressive Congress, APC, have concluded their screening and the report is out. There were 23 people that paid 100 million naira to buy the forms, and out of the 23, about 10 have been disqualified. Okay, so what's your take? With this disqualification, are we refunding the money?
Well, the party has made its money. It was good business for the party, as I think, 22 persons, 100 million naira each. So that means the party has taken home 2.2 billion naira. It's a huge sum of money, so good business for the party.
Very good business.
Yeah, but legally speaking, what's the reason for disqualification of 10 persons out of 22? A lot of these persons are either governors that are still serving, or senators, or persons that occupied one significant government position or the other. So at what point have they now lost the qualification to stand for the office of President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Some things beg for more questions, than answers. Now, but let me say this. By the Electoral Act 2022, I think Section 134, sub C of that act, it says that no one shall be disqualified, for any reason that is not stated in the Constitution. And the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria makes it very simple for one to qualify for any public office in Nigeria, attempted SSCE, age, and so on and so forth. The Constitution does not make mention of tax clearance certificate. It does not make mention of a lot of other things. And this is the issue that section of the Electoral Act seeks to address by saying, outside the constitutional requirements, no party is allowed to give an additional requirement for anybody who is contesting for a public office. So if the 10 persons that have been disqualified are disqualified for any reason outside what the Constitution says, then that disqualification is not in tandem.
So how do you appreciate the position of the Electoral Act, which says nobody shall be disqualified for reasons other than what the Constitution provides for, and you are now setting up parties, screening committees to do what? Are you making a moribund? Because the screening committee means sifting. I think that's the meaning of the word screening. You screen out some things. So if it's a screening committee, what's the purpose of the screening committee?
I believe that parties are permitted to have their own constitution, and they are screening based on what they have in their constitution, I should think.
Okay. And when the law says that even that constitution cannot screen out a party, and you go ahead to a person and you go ahead to disqualify him.
Well, for me, the place of screening cannot be taken away. It's still important. However, whatever parameters you have for your screening
Should be in line with
should be in line with the Constitution. For screening, there is need to screen so that if someone says it's male and yet it's female, it can be pointed out clearly to him. If someone is not a member of a political party and then he wants to contest for a public office under that platform, you know very well that as a party, if you give him the ticket, that's automatic disqualification. Because under the Nigerian constitution, you have to be on the platform of a political party to contest for public office.
Right.
And so the place of screening is still there. But whatever you're screening, it has to be within the confines of what the constitution provides.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be outside.
I am thinking, ordinarily, that the Electoral Act 2022 is really choking on the political parties, because I would expect that political parties should have a freedom of choice, to navigate the waters and select out the best candidate that can represent them. But as it stands, the Electoral Act seems to be very, very stifling on the political parties.
In which way is it stifling?
Okay, if you say you cannot screen out a candidate, if you say any candidate that is screened out, his money must be refunded, it makes sense. Alright? Because I don't see why the Electoral Act is telling parties, political parties, how to nominate their delegates.
It's something that needs to be looked into moving forward. The Electoral Act 2023 has received a lot of knocks, from civil society organizations, from the legal community, even from the presidency. As a matter of fact, it appears that but for the presidency, we would have had a terrible electoral act in the name of amendment, because it's even the presidency that had to say, gentlemen,
Look at this.
look at these provisions again. So if the president was such that he doesn't have a group of lawyers, a group of legal drafters,
Doesn't listen to.
he doesn't have these people that scrutinize, that go through section by section, then obviously the president would have appended his signature to an electoral act that would have done more harm to Nigeria's democracy
Than the
than
previous
good, which is very unfortunate. Every amendment should be an improvement on the previous law. But this is an electoral act that is full of a lot of controversies. Now, I was going through the electoral act today. I wanted to do something for somebody. And then I came across the grounds for election petition. Remember that unlawful exclusion, right from our time in law school till today or till recently, was a ground for election petition. So if your name is unlawfully excluded from the ballot, that is the logo of your political party,
Yes.
then you complain against it and say you had gone through all the requirements. Why is your political party not reflected on the ballot? And that was a ground for nullification of that election. The court used to say, go back and do that election. But now, in the name of amendment, that very section is taken out. That very ground is taken out. We now have 3 grounds for election petition. Unlawful exclusion is not one of the grounds anymore. And you begin to wonder,
What was the
then
intention?
happens? What was the intention of saying it is a ground? Because, a money bag can work closely with INEC or anybody in the electoral, and then ensure that your name is excluded.
Get your name out.
It's now lawful now.
No.
The act has
Yeah, of course.
provided for it not
Unfortunately,
to be
yes.
called unlawful.
Unfortunately,
it's
so
now
the act has now legalized the exclusion.
Yeah.
Because if you want to challenge the outcome of an election, you can only do it through an
Within
election
the-
petition,
yeah, and through the
within
grounds
the grounds
that
provided
is
by law.
specified.
Yes.
So now unlawful exclusion is itself excluded from the law, and you cannot challenge it, on that ground, and you cannot go to the regular court to challenge the outcome of an election. It has to be only the election petition tribunal. So I join the majority of Nigerian citizens that are saying that, see, this very electoral act, I do not know the intendment that ran through the minds of those that did the amendment. Most of the amendments are such that I do not think they will deepen the democracy. That we currently
I think
practice.
that's a problem I have with Nigerians. Nigerians just believe that all you can do, we don't like this document, throw it away, give us a new document. Every amendment from the word amendment means correcting the parts that are faulty. Why don't you use the ones, because it's like they wrote a brand new electoral act rather than improve or increase. It was a brand new electoral act and excluded things that were before, and the ones that they brought in over time at the point of implementing it, they now realize that okay, these other things were necessary, and we just goofed, right? Like the statutory delegates.
Yes.
They themselves were supposed to be statutory delegates,
But they excluded
themselves
you
in
know?
the bid to exclude
Others. They
you
ended
know,
up excluding themselves.
because their eye were on the appointees of the executives. They said, no, we cannot allow them to be part of what we will be doing. Who are the we? They weren't the we in the end.
And they eventually realized it and decided to amend and take to the president. But the president slept and...
I mean, he's Baba Goslow now. That's the name they called him. So the man is still taking his time. All right, so let's look at the
It
second
has
issue.
made it better.
Now, of course, that's
It has made it better. The
So
party
that-
can... The unlawful exclusion thing you said, we have evolved. They're now, you're free to exclude
It's exclude
somebody.
everybody.
And
that
it's
is
not
it-
unlawful.
That's a mischief
Carry
there.
on.
That's a mischief there.
It's just sad. It's just sad that this is an electoral act that has been, that an amendment was called for on the day it was signed into law. The president stood there and called for amendment right on the spot of signing into law.
Unfortunately. And perhaps there was need for the president, in spite of the outcry that was going to come from it, there was need for the president to say, gentlemen, you have to take it back and then work on it.
No,
And
but
then-
you see that
then-
already played politics with it. Everybody was already blaming the presidency and thinking he was a
That's what I
third
wanted
thing,
to say.
and he's trying to hang on it because that's the psychophancy. That the presidency is deliberately delaying this document because he wants to use the old one, he wants to use it for politicking, but that's not
But
what we found.
you see, in the end, we now have a law that needs to be amended.
A law that
urgently.
cannot be used, that
a
is
law,
not useful.
a law that is going to work. It's already working against the interest of the majority of Nigerian citizens. How do you have a law that excludes those that can take decision about who becomes the next leader? You just have a law that says only ad hoc delegates. On the face of that provision, it gives room for only ad hoc delegates. And now I
Says
see
it's only the statutory delegates that can take decisions.
No, they have a good
to a large
spirit.
extent.
They are politically exposed.
Yeah, they're politically exposed. Okay, but a situation where you now use the unknown minority, just three,
like a security man you said the last time.
a lot of them were using their security men,
Yes.
security men, cooks, and so on and so forth. And so you just see this guy receives salary from me every month. He's my security man. The other one is my cook. And I can always convince them and say, I want you to vote for this person.
You
They
don't need to
even have-
convince them. I can always direct
Okay, I
them.
can always direct them. They can't even ask me, sir, why this person and so on. So it's now what I call democracy by the unknown minority. They come, they just cast their vote, and that's why you see 900 and something votes. You see 1,000 out of 1,100 delegates. You have 900. I mean, you have 1,070 something or 80 something. For the winner. It means that the other people are so insignificant; they are not known. Even their ward members
I
cannot
think,
vote
I
for
think,
them.
I think even the other ones, they are standing voters that didn't vote the majority were directed to just cast votes.
Yeah.
Just cast away your vote.
Yeah, but
so it will look like it was a nomination.
But that is not how democracy should go. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and
Okay,
Okay,
so what were the
all right,
statutory
because-
delegates doing when they were also voting?
Before now, the statutory delegates would swing some votes.
yeah, they were
They were
swinging
powerful
votes.
vote swingers. They will lobby others.
Yes.
So you have a balance of 240, 530,
Yeah.
20, 89. It looked like something was going on. But when 900 people or 1,000 people will vote in a straight line, in a single
Yeah.
file,
Yeah.
and you have 2, 3, 1, and 0, 0, 0, 0, 0,
Yeah.
it doesn't reflect democracy.
It doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't.
All right, let's go to the second issue of the board. The second issue is the fact that a PDP delegate donated proceeds of his, how do I place it? proceeds.
Delegate journey.
Yeah, obviously, okay, fine. Delegate journey to communities, community members, pay school fees for some others, for some students, and largest old people were fed and given pocket monies and stuff. Quite a laudable thing, right? Right? Quite a laudable position. Somebody goes on a journey, comes back with bread and shares it amongst his people, and told them the journey was good, right? And I promise you, when I go and come back, I'll buy bread. This is the bread. Got party people together, and he's painting millions of naira.
Yeah, millions.
About 13 million naira.
And he said it's appreciation for choosing me to go.
So, Hannah, your
this
impression?
journey.
What's your impression on that act? A honest to God impression without the law.
The guy went and everybody knew he was going to earn money on that trip. And he came and shared with the people who made it possible for him to go earn the money. I mean, such a generous soul.
Money well earned. Now, okay, let's you look at it.
Yeah, my own is can he sustain this generosity of his?
No, he didn't need to sustain it.
Oh, he didn't need to
It was a one-off generosity.
Yeah, I wish it was sustainable. It would have been better than the one-off thing. Now, the fact that he cannot even sustain it beyond this week.
No, when you're saying he cannot sustain it, what do you mean by sustain it?
Yeah.
He earned once.
Yeah.
If he earns the second time, he would do it.
Okay.
He went on a journey.
Okay.
They sent him to go and earn.
Okay.
And he earned and he came and shared.
All right, let's come back to
the
legally
trip.
speaking.
Okay.
Let's come back to legally speaking.
May God never give him the opportunity to earn this kind of money.
All right, listeners,
again.
if you are calling in, the numbers to call will be 090-222-31011. I repeat that number, 090-222-31011. The alternative number will be 081-762-48565. I repeat the alternative number, 081-762-48565. We're on the second topic for discussion now. We're talking about the delegates, the PDP delegate that donated millions of naira to his community people for community development. Now, let's now look at the law.
Yeah, legally speaking, this person is supposed to be with the EFCC by now.
Why?
That's money laundering. That's money laundering, clearly.
One,
You saw the stacks of money that he brought on the table and so on. That's clear money laundering. And so the EFCC, I don't know whether the EFCC have
what
not
is money
invited him.
laundering?
I think what you would rather say is corruption.
You know,
What is money
call
laundering?
it corruption, call it money laundering.
No, define
illicit money. Money laundering simply means illicit money. Bringing illicit money to try to do a legitimate thing.
Or
with it.
cleaning dirty money.
Okay, so this money is so dirty. This is illicit money. This is product of corruption on his part. He got this money so as to be able to vote for someone in an election that he ought to have voted without collecting money.
Okay.
So I would have expected that EFCC by now should call him in and then interrogate him, let him assist the EFCC. From there, he should now go to court.
Well, so
Now,
what
that's
about
one.
the others who got the money and ate it?
This man
Those
that has
ones
come out,
didn't
He has
do
come out,
anything.
this man that has
It's-
come out
it's
is going
open.
to assist the EFCC in identifying those people as much as possible, because they need to call them in and so on. Now that's one. Number two, the action of this man also shows you.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello. Sorry. Okay, go on.
Okay, so the second point I want to make is that the action of this man also shows you, with all due respect, the caliber of persons that went to do this as ad hoc
Of
delegates.
course.
Now it comes
That they
back.
were very generous people that went to do it.
Well, that could be your own description of the caliber of persons.
And honest people.
Now
Hello.
talk about the quality.
Why are you saying, okay, what
Sorry,
about
I think
his
we have the
action
call.
shows
We have the
his
call. Hello?
quality?
Hello. Yeah, please, can you speak louder? We are hearing you.
Good afternoon, Planet FM.
Yes, good afternoon.
Please, I want to, if the lawyer says that guy should be brought to justice by the FCC. What of that of a while, somebody either from a couple publicly said that there was a distribution of money in which it was cheated. How can that be justified?
All right. Thank you very much. You didn't tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, Umar Basi from Etina.
Umar Basi from Etinan. All right. Let me take that question. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is when you catch a thief, rather than the thief face his trial, he begins to ask you, what of the other thief that stole yesterday? What did you do? No, we are not justifying what happened with the Okobo and Akwaibo. We are saying this man came public, he showed stash of cash, and he distributed them as though he worked for it. He's a philanthropist, earned this money, and he's trying to assist his community like a payback. Now, the law is that buying and selling of votes is an illegal activity, and has criminalized it in the Electoral Act. Now, when you come out and gleefully say, I sold my vote, and this is what it was worth, and you are entitled to some form of compensation for sending me out to sell the vote I had, this is your own share. And he went on to say that in the foray of spending, they remember that there were two people that have not yet collected their own, that they will collect by Monday, right? And he was questioned, what if EFCC comes at you? He said he has not done anything wrong, that he will gladly follow them, that what he has done has been a generous act. So you see, at that point he displayed so much ignorance,
Clear ignorance
of the provisions of the law. Hello, you're on toLegally speaking. So can you? Okay, sorry. If you're calling the first number, that's the 0902 2231 011. If you're calling that number and you're having issues, please call 081 762 48565. Try the two lines. If one is having the problem, call the other. All right, so AKBD. Okay, Hannah, you want to say?
Yeah, you're saying that the Electoral Act prohibits buying and selling of votes. Perhaps it's not referring to internal votes, like votes to select candidates for parties.
The question will be, were these people voted for? If the answer is yes, it qualifies.
Is that the before they could say, is that the process of electioneering?
Yes, it can be.
Will they at the end stand to be voted for?
Yes, and they voted. They cast. They had them ballots and so on.
We hear all around, or is it that it's not supposed to have entered the ears of EFCC that there was $15,000 per delegate?
No, the story is even wider than that.
Yeah.
We have it that some
what
people.
was the money for?
Hello. Sorry, I think we're having some technical issues with the calls. But hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Please speak louder.
Yes. In regard to that person that came back from the convention ground, then it showed his philanthropic nature. What of those people that shared that money, those presidential aspirants that shared the money at the convention ground?
Exactly. You've asked a good question. What's your name, sir? We didn't get to that at the beginning. All right. Well, I think he's asked a good question. Okay?
No, he's asking a good question. But you know the law now. The law is that the person that gives bribe,
the giver and the collector,
is guilty, and the person collecting bribe is equally guilty.
And so the person that promotes, the promoter is in between.
Yeah. So that's why I think that the EFCC should move in and get this man. He will have a whole lot to offer the EFCC and to offer Nigeria, because in the interrogation of this guy, this gentleman, he will be able to say who gave him this kind of money. That's clear money laundering, and it's not something that he has. And you see the way the man came out, gleefully, doing what he was doing. But, clear ignorance on his part. He doesn't know the law.
Beyond that, man, the publication was rife on who paid $50,000, who paid 30, who paid 5, who paid 4. It's always all through the public space.
Now, this is a dangerous thing that has crept into the Nigerian electoral process. And you see, it's now been in an advanced manner. Before now, it was naira.
Now we are paying in dollars.
They're paying in dollars.
And another offense. Some of them are claiming that the dollars with some fake dollars in it.
Okay, so this is a problem for the Nigerian electoral system. It therefore means that someone who has the best of ideas but doesn't have deep pockets,
yes, hello,
cannot emerge.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you. Legally speaking.
Yeah, you're on to legally speaking, sir. Can you go on?
Thank you. Good evening. And my sister there.
Good evening.
Thank you. This is Friday from Ibianism.
Friday from Ibianism. Go on, sir.
Thank you. I want to believe that what the barrister said is true. That person is supposed to be in the EFCC now. Why? To know who gave him, who actually gave him this push of money while he's the ordinary delegate he is. And this is a food buying. I wish we say we don't want this in the country again so that we can select the good leaders who will lead us. So I want to believe what he said is true.
All right.
And barrister, there is one I want to hear from you, because I always like to ask a question when legally speaking on comment. Barrister, if His Excellency Buhari comes to Akwa Ibom or any other state now, who will be the first person that President will meet or she have a handshake?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Friday.
No, let him answer me. I still have what to say, please.
Yeah, because of time.
Let me answer. Well, it should be the governor of the state.
If the governor is there.
Yeah, the governor should be there to receive the president. So if the governor is there, then the first person that the president should have the handshake with should be the governor of the state, because
that's protocol, not legally speaking.
That's number one citizen of the
by protocol
of the state,
not legally speaking. There's no law that says he shouldn't shake his mother if his mother is around. All right.
The president's mother had long died.
Okay, I think we've lost him. Friday, thank you very much for your call. Yes. So, like he has noted, I appreciate that he's understood the law at that point. There are a lot of people were involved in this transaction, including party officials.
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying.
So it wasn't a case
saying
of
that this man is the one that should be caught to name the people who paid him money.
Yeah.
So what about this information we were having everywhere
if the information
and you have said that it's dollars now before it was naira. This payment has been going on over time. It's practice. It's normal practice.
Yeah. To the first question, in law we talk about evidence.
Okay.
We talk about proof.
Okay.
So the other stories published on social media, you may not be able to take it as evidence if you are to present it in the court.
Okay.
Except the person publishing can come out and say, okay, this is what I saw, this is what I know, and so on. But the easiest way to prove this issue now is this man that has come out with stacks of money
in front of him,
with camera everywhere,
and witnesses everywhere.
Yeah, so this is the person that can give the security agent
his ground zero of evidence.
Yes. So his evidence will be very strong. So whoever he calls,
the money is in front of you.
You know, so
and
now,
people are there receiving the money, and when you told them, I have not stolen this money, ordinarily I shouldn't afford to give you this, but because you gave me your vote to go and sell, I have sold that vote, and this is what I promised you I will come back with.
If the man is rending, if he's taken before the court, that's the point that he will realize that he's alone. Nobody sent him. He's very much alone. Because it's a terrible thing that has happened to the electoral process in Nigeria. That people now go and then vote because of the quantum of money given to them. And these people are very, very not trustworthy, because I understand that all the candidates gave them money and then they kept collecting.
Yes.
Of course.
Only to vote for only one person. So now, if the EFCC should work on this plan, they will get to the point of getting his account from the bank to see the volume of money that has been entering his account. And this one just entered in one fell swoop.
Do you think it was paid into his
No,
account.
this
I
man,
doubt.
the way this man is behaving, he would have gone to change and then put it in his account
Now,
immediately.
it's an interesting part of that story. The man said as soon as he landed Abuja, people came in, gave him 400,000 for his accommodation, some 500, and he refused to go stay in the hotel. He slept in his car.
He collected cash.
They gave him money to go eat at Daikon Nuga, 20,000 per plate of food. He ate indomie. a typical house servant.
The man was.
I mean,
the
he was
man
very expressive.
saving
Yeah, it
the
was
money.
very. I like the fact that he's very truthful, he's very expressive, and that truth
Will
can really
convict him.
assist in convicting him as soon
That
as
should
possible.
not set him free.
No.
No, but what I want to know is, so what we are saying is, the ones who have collected and quietly eaten is akin to nothing change hands.
No,
That I collected
everybody's
and I
a
ate
thief.
and I
It's
didn't
only the
say
ones that are caught
anything.
that have been
this
prosecuted.
this man can really assist the EFCC in getting to each and every one. I mean,
Not
as
each
many
and every
people,
one,
as many people as possible. You know, because see, this is the point. Nigeria cannot continue this way.
Okay.
We cannot monetize everything. Else, it'll get to a point where even leadership in churches will be monetized.
Is it getting to a point or is it?
Okay,
Oh, it's already
okay,
there. We're
okay.
already
Oh,
there.
what
Okay.
I
Hello.
would suggest is,
Okay.
Okay, so
See,
so
I want to suggest
Nigeria,
is delegates should declare their assets before they become.
no, not even,
So that when you build a house,
no, that's not possible.
no,
That's not
but Hannah is saying something very.
No, but you know it's not possible because of the shortness of time.
no matter how short,
but what I'm saying,
they can declare assets.
but what I'm saying is that
because people build houses when they come back. We are shouting at this man because he shared.
Well-
So when you build a house, is it not a laundering now? You
well,
took
well,
it.
you see,
Is it not?
what I'm saying is that Nigeria must save itself
How?
from what is going on.
How?
What is going on is so terrible that if it continues like this, we should not continue talking about bad leadership. Because
right.
we shall never have good leadership if it continues like this.
ladies, this is what I view. The word consultation is not limited to Nigeria alone. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, consultation means giving money to people you are talking to. How much have you brought to consult us? What did you come? How did you come? You understand? Now, the word lobby is not also limited to just Nigeria. But in Nigeria, lobby means spending money. So we import these words and we Nigerianize it, Nigerianize them and make them appear the way, because they will say we're lobbying the delegates. That's what they will tell you. We lobby the delegates, and the ones that came to you and every other person to meet this, they say we went to consult them, and in consulting they came with cows, cars. And
This has gone on for years.
I hear the more recent one is that cars are being packed with stacks of money for the upcoming nomination. Prado Jeeps.
Which only one nomination is left.
That particular nomination.
That very nomination.
The one that is left.
Well, it's hearsay.
No, but when it manifests,
Yeah, we'll hear.
what the police and the security agencies are supposed to do is to follow the hearsay. It's like a lead.
Yeah.
You follow the lead and start.
And it
But
gets
I think let's that should be it for that topic. Let's go to the other one. Something very sensitive happened very recently. The prelate of the Methodist Church of Nigeria, His Eminence Samuel Uche, was abducted along with two other priests thereabout. Eventually, he came out and is singing like a bird on TV that he paid 100 million naira to his abductors, equivalent to buying a ticket for presidency to be released from the bush. Now, recall that very recently the Terrorism Act has been amended to include criminalizing payment of ransom to abductors, facilitating the payment of ransom to abductors. Now, socially speaking, let's come to you. How do you see the transaction? How do you justify that transaction, Hannah?
Well, I'm imagining it working this way. I am abducted and I pay money and get released. Law enforcement agencies catch me and try me for breaking the law by paying to
Be alive.
achieve my release. So now that this man has been, we should expect him to be arrested for breaking the law and
I'm not sure if the president has signed that terrorism amended act into law yet, but the National Assembly passed it into law.
Yeah, they passed it into law. You know, why some of them are passing it into law is that they're still having retinue of security working with them, driving with them everywhere. And so for now, they feel they're invincible, nobody can kidnap them, and so on and so forth. So the beautiful thing about law is that the laws you make today
We'll haunt you tomorrow.
will live with you tomorrow when you leave that office.
because I'm wondering
Now there was
what
a law.
somebody
There was a law.
thinking.
Yes, there was a law passed by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly during the tenure of His Excellency Godswill Akpabio. That law was passed by the National Assembly. I mean, by the State House of Assembly, to the effect that if somebody is arrested, he is first taken to the magistrate's court. When the magistrate's court says, "I don't have jurisdiction to try you," the magistrate is given the authority to detain that person
Until
for 7 days first, and 14 days.
14 days.
The
in first
magistrate has
instance.
a further jurisdiction, a further power to order for remand of that person for another 14 days,
Pending-
making it 28 days.
Wow.
Pending the sending of the case file to the DPP, that's Director of Public Prosecution, for legal advice. Now, that provision is clearly contrary to the Constitution, which says this person must be arraigned before a court of law
Yeah.
competent jurisdiction within 1 day or 2 days.
2 days, I
There is a state law that says 28 days. That was passed by those that were in the Akwa Ibom House of Assembly at the time. After them, that law is still haunting people every day in courts
Now-
across Akwa Ibom to today.
Yes.
If one of them has a problem and is taken to the magistrate's court,
That's the
that
same thing
law,
that happened.
certainly it will be the same thing. Now, when you pass a law that says that a family that breaks its bank account to rescue its loved one,
Yeah.
that family should be charged to court and possibly convicted for committing an offense, what sort of law are you passing? I am grateful to God that the prelate has come back alive. Because if you want to follow what the National Assembly is saying, it means that that prelate should have remained there in the forest
And died.
and died.
It's better he died.
And there is
than
no
other people
provision in the law of the National Assembly that says that if this man dies in the kidnapper's den, that the federal government of Nigeria is going
Should
to compensate
compensate
the
the
family
families, yes.
of that
Yeah.
man. I think that laws should be better drafted and should be better intended than this kind of a thing. Nobody is encouraging the kidnapping of anybody.
Yeah.
But it places the duty, the responsibility on the security agents
Yes.
to do more to make society not to be so porous for kidnapping to be done so easily. It is not for the National Assembly to shift this responsibility and
On the
punishment for that on the
Yeah,
citizenry.
because when you consider that law, the man has imagined his life in prison. At least I'll be alive
Yes, in prison.
after 7 years or 12 years or whatever time the magistrate, the very safe judge, would decide to award against me, the verdict after I've been convicted by the police officers who were alive when I was abducted and never bothered to enter that bush
yeah,
to search
to
for me.
search.
They waited for me to come back so that they will arrest me and bring me to court. I mean, we need to understand the theory of lawmaking, because lawmaking at this point has become a jamboree. You just sit
I
down.
think what they had in mind was they were thinking if we prohibit paying ransom, that people will give time for law enforcement agents to come rescue them. But it doesn't make sense at all to say that, to criminalize and say somebody commits an offense by. Because I'm trying to understand, I don't think they were mad when they came up with, they wanted to achieve something with that law. But it's
Okay,
crazy.
let's take this call. Hello.
They-
Hello. Hello. Okay, go on.
Then I wanted to ask you concerning that Akwa Ibom state law where you say
Holding charge.
holding someone for 28 days when the what
When
is it
the
the
magistrate law
constitution
doesn't
or
have jurisdiction.
fundamental right states that somebody
constitution.
should be out in 48 days.
To 48 hours.
4 hours or
48 hours,
48
sorry,
hours.
48 hours. What's the relationship between state made law and
national laws.
Yes, the Constitution.
Well, in this case, a state law is subject to the Constitution. The Constitution takes preeminence at
And
all
so this one
times.
that is not agreeing with what the Constitution, saying something totally contrary to what the Constitution says, why is it still effective? Why are we using it?
A law is a law once passed, whether by the local government or by the state House of Assembly, until it is set aside or amended.
Okay.
It is for people like Tony Book here to have gone to court since 2007 when that law was passed. Okay, go to court and then challenge that section of the law and say, strike it out. And I'm sure a court in this state would have struck that provision out because it is contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. So this is work given to Tony.
You have been so angry with that provision.
Okay, so
and I wonder why you are still walking the streets of Uyo without filing an action.
It is people like you according to him. It's not people like him. So what you're saying is that seriously, lawmakers can wake up and know very well that the laws they are making is against the Constitution, and it will only be struck out when somebody says this law. Please, court, look at this law, compare it with the Constitution. It's against, strike it out. But until somebody does that, unless somebody does that, that law flies.
It flies if there is no challenge. And there are many avenues to challenge. If you have a client that is taken to court and then he's remanded based on this provision of the Constitution, you can do an issue of jurisdiction and in that process ask the court to strike it out. And you can also do public interest litigation. And on a serious note, it is something that all of us lawyers should be concerned about. Nigerian Bar Association as a body, lawyers that are practicing, it is something that we should be concerned about and then take it to the court. We table it before the court and it's very easy. We present it constitution.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Legally speaking, please, I want to ask a question concerning the Constitution and the law.
Okay.
I'm John Bosco from Ibiono.
John Bosco from Ibiono.
Barrister Day has said that the Constitution is the supreme, and we have had a situation where there is a law in Akwa Ibom State that is contrary to the Constitution. And we also know that the Constitution says when any other law in the land is contrary to the Constitution, that law is void and void. So what happens now that this other one is still being effective and implemented here in the state? That's my question.
All right, John Bosco. Okay, I think we start with the fact that they are already explained that no matter how illegal a law is, as long as it is passed, it stands as a law until it is set aside by a court of law or it's been amended by the due process of amendment. Now, when this law has been passed, even if it is illegal, you are not authorized. Okay, you are not authorized to apply self-help. To say, oh, the Constitution says this, so this law is wrong. No. You are expected to follow the due process of law to have it set aside. Like you say, people like him have refused to go to court on that issue. All right? And it's quite unfair to the public to have people like him sitting in the studio to say, I have refused to go to court until somebody comes to pay me to do public interest litigation. So that's it. Thank you, John Bosco, for that question. So, gentlemen, let's start rounding up. What's your final assessment on the Electoral? We've looked at two aspects of that Electoral Act. One of them having to do with the criminalization of paying of bribe to garner votes. The other has to do with which issue is that?
Is it delegates?
The delegates.
Ad hoc delegates.
Yes.
We've also looked at the one that talks unlawful exclusion, not making it a ground anymore.
Okay.
Well, my assessment of the Electoral Act 2000
and the disqualification.
Yes,
of,
Electoral Act 2022.
Parties.
Is well, in fairness, there are some provisions that are good for our democracy, but there are so many provisions that will not do Nigeria.
So score the Electoral Act 2022.
Well, I don't want to score because I may not be generous with the score.
Let's have your ingenerous score. Over 100.
My ingenerous score is that there are so many complaints arising from that.
So that's a 2 over 100. Hannah? Let's have it talk on it.
I don't have any score, please.
All right.
Thank
So,
you.
gentlemen, that's a size of Legally Speaking for today. I have had a community, a lawyer with Justice Chambers. Bear is mine and scored a Electoral Act 2022 with a 2 over 100. I've had.
He did not score,
But he did
please.
not object to it when the score was mentioned. I have also
Okay,
had.
it's true, he did not
Allow him.
object.
Okay. I've also had Hannah I say with you. Hannah is a teacher and she does well in social commentaries. My name is Anthony Ebuk. I'm a law partners and associate. I believe between now and next week when we come back again, same time, everything you do will be legal.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by, gross them. Our governors have to share police